Hi all, welcome to the Dixon's channel. I do welcome each and everyone. Please feel free to leave your comments. Talk with us. Let us know what you think about what we are doing, what we are showing. If our content is precise and makes sense for you. Of course, do remember to like, subscribe, and share our videos with your friends, families, and persons who wish to know more. Alright, so today we'll be doing a bit of maintenance on our system. We'll be looking in depth, not in depth, but in the maintenance average on the batteries, on the inverter, and the solar panels for this 8 kilowatt system we have here. So we're going to be looking at it. Ladies, feel free, don't turn away. It's going to be exciting. Things you will learn for persons who have solar system. Not necessarily have a male figure there to look over it at all time or do maintenance. Feel free, you're going to learn something that you can go and actually know what is happening and what to do and how to appreciate it and what else the system can do for you, depending on what you're using there. Alright, without further ado, let us turn to the inverter now. So this is the inverter. It's a big one. It's a 8 kilowatt inverter system, right? It's a Sun 8K kilowatt. So let us just dive in the menu right here, and you'll see on the top, you'll see the date, the time. It's a little bit late, of course, to do maintenance because the sun is up, but nevertheless, we're gonna run through, do what we see need to be done. All right, so now let's point here, for example. This is the panel displaying right here, and the panel you're seeing 0.69. It just means that the panels are pulling in 700 watts, basically kilowatts. In other words, then that's what the panels are pulling in now. The battery down here, it is saying the battery is charged to 49.2 volts. All right, over this side right here, it is saying that the grid is, we're taking from the grid 0. Oh, it will fluctuate at times. I'm going to explain why. So it is saying we're pulling in 200 kilowatts from the grid now. And down here where it says house, it shows what the house is using. 0.21, 201 kilowatts. That's what it is using. So this system is one that introvertly switch from being so this system will automatically, then let's use that term, switches itself from JPS to an off-grid, and it does vice versa from off-grid to JPS whenever time the battery drops, or depending on what the settings are. If I tell it not to use a battery but to use from JPS at X time or whatever it is, it depending on the settings that you put there for it. So even though somebody might install a system for you, it depending on the setting, so you need to know what those settings are and how it accommodates for the house and your production that the panels are pulling in. All right, so let me just go into let's do this. So tap on the panels. You see right there, it says that the panel is pulling in 740 watts, right? And where it says down here, PV1 is pulling, meaning there are two strings of panels on the house top. So one string of panels, which are 8, right? So one string 8 and another one 8. Number one string is pulling in 444 now. This next set of panels, the second string, it is pulling in 344 watts, right? So that's PV1, it is known as panel 1, or group of panel 1, group of panels 2, and each group is consists of 8 for myself, right? They are all connected in series, right? So the early time, what it displayed, the time was saying after 9. It's pretty early, the sun just got up. The panels are turned to the east at a tilt almost 45 degrees, so it's at a 43.3 turn right to the east. So that's good for the amount of panels. The panels are 250 watts, sorry, 250 watts panels. All right, so let's go a bit in the, get out this. And let's do this. Go in the menu. Right, so it says battery, it says basic settings, and system work mode. I'm going to jump to system work mode first. So you see how it's connected to align itself to be on the grid, to interact with the grid, to communicate with the grid. So that's what it is saying. It's a zero export to CT. I'm going to mention that first. Now, zero export to CT means that it won't push current back to the grid, right? So the export to CT meaning that it will stop the current within the inverter right there. There are some transformers that do stop the current in it that you install that stop the current from going back to the grid, meaning it won't feed back to the grid. If JPS goes away, then somebody gets shocked if they go and touch any grid or anywhere out there. So it's not feeding back. So that's the setting that stop it, zero export to CT. However, it will communicate with the JPS current from the panel box that is installed from JPS in our house. So from there to this inverter. All right, so let's get out of that. We'll go to battery settings. Now that's what the battery settings is. The battery capacity now, we set it at 125 amp hour, and we set the max charge voltage at 100 amp and the discharge at 100 amp. Most people set the charge and the discharge at 100 amp, depending on what you want. Over the next side, you have types of batteries, which says battery mode. You have lithium, battery voltage, battery percentage, and no battery. All right, so lithium battery, those are the newest batteries that chemists comes up with now, that is new in the world, that most cars are using. That if you have a charge plug-in car that uses electricity, right? So that type of battery is mostly used in cars now, and it's a new thing, so it doesn't contain water. It's not an AGM battery, right? It's not a sulfate battery either, right? So it's not a gel, it's not necessarily gel, but partial, right? So that's what the lithium battery is. Use of battery voltage, meaning we're using AGM batteries, right? The one that you have to put in a distilled water and keep it topped up. Use of battery voltage, this just tells you where your battery state is, meaning it will, with the voltage, it won't tell you the percentage, it will just show you. But with the battery voltage, it will show you that the battery is 10% charge or 90% charge, while the voltage will just say, okay, 54%, 54 volts or 48 volts, depending on your choice. The one that says no battery, it means that if you choose to use no battery, yes, this inverter can work without battery. It just pull the current down from the panels and send it straight to the house. So that's an option. I've used it before, it works well. Only thing, when the sun dips, the current dips, and if it dips to lower than 110 volts, then you're not going to have any much current. So I just let it stay, and I use voltage for my sake. All right, so from the inverter, as I said, there are a lot of options in the inverter. However, we're not going to go through all of them. We're just looking at what the system is producing now, and we'll be going next to the batteries. So let me just show you what my battery is kept in. So that's the battery bank, a very small one. Most batteries that use it, most systems that uses the different type of battery, you don't need such a big battery bank. Maybe a small one that houses one battery, right? So that's my battery bank there. If you're using lithium battery, you'll probably maybe just have one or two. If you have a big house, maybe two. Some persons will go with three. Use two and one for the additional backup. But of course, they are connected in series as well to operate as one. See, the system will see it as one battery. So that's it. Those are all the batteries. These are AGM batteries. These are rolls, and they are 425, 120, 125 as well, 550, and the type S550, and those are connected in series parallel as well. So all those connected to the system see it as one 48-volt battery. All right, so of course these batteries do need servicing. We see a bit of corrosion right there, So that will stop the flow of the actual voltage at what it's supposed to be. You won't get what it's supposed to produce. So that we see that we need to work on that, get it all cleaned up. And we're going to check the, we're just going to check the battery cells to see. So to have a bit of water inside it. So what you can do, just unscrew the lids from the battery, look what the level of water is inside it. If it's at the level, it's okay. If it's beneath the level, then you always top it up. Good to top it up. Do a regular monthly service, depending on how hard you use your system. If it's a business, then you need to have somebody, or if you can do it, do it yourself. If you're using an automated watering system, then you don't need to do anything more than just change the jug of water, and the system automatically waters the battery. So we're just checking these batteries. Not going to pull all the lids, but to pull some from what we're seeing. They're looking good so far. Not going to add any water now, other than just clean up that one. We're going to use to clean this off. You're going to use a cloth with the water or a toothbrush with the water. You can pull it off and clean it and connect it back here. You can clean it on it. Most persons do the right thing. Just shut the battery off of the system and clean it. So at this point, let me just set back this right here, the system. So what happened at the top, you can know what the system is doing. Right up here it says DC, DC direct current, and AC alternating current, and normal, and then alarm. Alarm comes on if something is not communicating right, lost voltage, lost something in terms of current. Normal meaning the system is seeing it as normal working, meaning that the current coming to it is adequate and everything works well. Alright, providing if you're using DC or AC or both. In this case, all systems are on. The grid is on, and the battery and the panels are on. Just like what it's showing. You see in the arrows, it's communicating from the panels to the battery to the house from GPS, and it does, the arrows will change depending on what is happening with the sun. If the sun comes back up, you see it start telling the grid, no, don't send any current. If the sun drops, it starts pulling from the battery first. That's what it's connected to do, to pull from the battery first at all times. If the battery goes to a certain level, which I set it at 47 volts, then it tells it to go to GPS automatically. So I can just go to GPS and switch it off. If I switch my GPS breakers off, it will run as a standalone system, right? That means the system is working only by the panels and batteries, right? So it's not using GPS, so it's self-sufficient, right? Producing our own current. They're totally not depending on the grid. All right, so from here we're going to go to the roof and look at the panels. All right, so we're back. So this is from the base angle, so I can give you a view of the panels on the roof. So that's what the panels are looking like. So as I say, it's 2 string of panels, right? The first set is 8 going across, the lower set, and the one to the back is 8 set going across as well. So that makes it 2 strings of 8, right? And it's connected in series and then parallel to inside the house, then sent to the breakers, and then from the breakers to the inverter, right? So 2 strings of panels there. All right, so one is a bit dark, if you can see, which is 4. So those 4 are a different design from the others. Why, at the time when I purchased them, those were the first set that they had, and this was what, 19 years ago? Yeah, 19 years, well, 18, it's not like 18 years ago, pretty much, and a little bit of months. And those were the set they have, those darker ones. They are all monocrystalline. There are 2 types of panel, monocrystalline and polycrystallines. So all the panels are monocrystalline, despite the different colors. The voltage is 2% less, 2.1 less than the others. So That dark one is 2.1 more than this one. Not a problem based on the inverter that we're using, right? So it still works. So all the panels are monocrystalline. While the difference with the monocrystalline and the polycrystalline is that the polycrystalline works only when the sun is up. If the sun goes and it gets overcast, it doesn't produce. The monocrystalline, it produces even in snow when the sun gone down, right? As long as there's a daytime, it will charge and work. So there's a difference. So as I say, if something shadows one of the polycrystalline, if a bird or a tree covers a slight portions of it, then depending on the type of system and the connection that you have, that system won't be producing. As simple as that. For this one, it produces just the same. All right, so we're gonna go, they look like they can take a bit of cleaning, so we'll probably be doing a bit of cleaning. So that's it for the panels. So of course guys, the next video I'll be putting out is showing you how to clean the panels for those of you who have access to the panels without putting yourself at any risk or danger to reach them and can clean it. For mine, my roof is not so high, right? It's a one flat roof, so it's not upstairs or anything, so I have access to it based on how I designed it at the time, right? Because it's low, it attracts dust and so on from next door. So all the best, bye for now guys. Show me the questions, whatever it is concerns, I'll respond to you all. All right.